What's up, everybody? My name is Tyson Roush, and this video is about the David Goggins Challenge, which I completed between the dates of March 4th and March 6th of 2022. Before we go into the whole experience, I just want to say, if you don't know who David Goggins is, or you want more information, check out his book, You Can't Hurt Me. It is inspirational. It is motivational. It gives you insight into his mindset, his whole life story in blunt detail, and it is awesome. So check that out. If you don't know what the challenge is, it's 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. And what that means is, what I did was, the challenge was supposed to start at, I believe it was 11 o'clock Pacific time. I changed to 5 o'clock Eastern time just to accommodate my work schedule and everything else I had going on. But so I started at 5 o'clock. So that's 5 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 1 o'clock. So if it takes you an hour and a half to run, then your recovery time is less. So that's what the challenge was. Going into it, I didn't really know what to expect, but after reading his book, I realized that preparation and worrying about contingencies has to go into the plan. So the first thing you think about is, where are you going to run at? And a lot of things go into the factors. What's the terrain going to be? What's the safety going to be? You're going to be running overnight, all these different things. How far is it from your location? You can't really spend 45 minutes going somewhere because you lost an hour and a half of travel time. So for me personally, I went to the boardwalk, which is about 18 minutes from me. I also went to a retirement village where my parents live, that it's a gated community. So different times of the day, it's easier to run. There's not a lot of traffic, and it was safer. The next thing is you got to worry about is, what is your clothing? A lot of things you want to prepare in advance. You want to have, just the basics, man, your shorts, your socks, your underwear, everything, because you don't want to sit and worry about laundry. Every minute of this time is accounted for, and it's valuable where you want to rest. So you have to have all your clothing ready. Other thing is food. You want to have your food prep ready. You want to have everything done in advance, because you don't want to be sitting there after running 16 miles worrying about, what am I going to cook? Do I have enough nutrition? How do I stay hydrated? So I had all my ideas for food laid out in advance. I had plenty of water in advance. I hydrated days before, a lot of Smart Waters, a lot of Gatorade Zero. You got to worry about all that as well. In terms of the training, I'm not a huge runner. I run on the weekends. I enjoy it as escape, just for mental health. But for this, I do a lot of boxing, kickboxing. I eliminated a lot of that, and I did just longer runs, a lot of elliptical. But if it's a 4-mile run, I was doing nothing less than 6 miles in anything I did. So in boxing, if people do like a 2-minute round, you usually train a 3-minute round, so you're prepared for it. So for my running, I did no run less than 6 miles. And then I would do just timed runs. I would do running for 60 minutes, running for an hour and a half. I would do elliptical pretty much as hard as I can go for 90 minutes. You just boost your cardio as much as possible, so that in the back of your head, I had the capacity to handle this amount of cardio. Then it's just a matter of dealing with the lack of sleep and everything else. So preparation in terms of food, hydration, clothing, the running. Keep all those things in mind. I wrote that on my notes so I didn't forget. Also, plan out rides. Where do you, if you're going to get fatigued, do you have somebody helping you? And for me, that was really, really important, because when if you borderline on any kind of dehydration or mental fatigue or physical fatigue, you may not be capable to drive. So you need to have a really good support staff. I was lucky that my family was very involved. I had a couple good friends that were involved, that were willing to just help me through all this. And you get the encouragement and just kind of ease your mind a little bit, even through a run. You can be able to handle a 4-mile run, but your body, it starts to get in your head a little bit. You start to grind, start to slow down. You don't want to slow down, because if you usually run a 40-minute mile, you start slowing down, do a 55-minute mile, you're losing 15 minutes of recovery time or rest time, whatever else. So having somebody in your corner literally running with you a couple of miles or doing things is a big, big plus. Other than that, going into it, I honestly had no idea what to expect. I'm making sure I covered everything. I started out running on the boardwalk, like I said. And the one thing is, I thought I planned for pretty much everything. I was going to start at 5 o'clock on a Friday, end at 1 o'clock on a Sunday, and it was going to go like that. Well, usually on Fridays I work from home, so I figure, I can rest. I'll have a time to get myself, situated. And lo and behold, Friday comes, I have to go into the office. So now I'm up at 5:30 in the morning. I work all day. I rush home, and then off to the race I go. I have to go to my first 5 o'clock run. So my anticipated rest time, not going to be there. So now all of a sudden you're like, wow, am I not going to get enough sleep? How am I going to do this? Then during my first run, you feel like you're in a groove. Your adrenaline's going, you're pumped up, you want to go, and you're like, wait a minute. You don't want to blow out your legs, because you still have, this isn't to be the fastest runner in America. You want to complete your 5 miles or 4 miles, at a good pace, but not to exhaustion. You're not trying to impress nobody, you're trying to complete it. So the first couple runs went really well. Then I went to the overnight hours. I made a deal with the local gym to go inside because unfortunately in New Jersey, it was pretty cold. So the challenge of running in the cold is that you wear more layers. And I tend to sweat very easily. So the more layers you wear to stay warm, the more you sweat and the more hydration becomes an issue. So for the overnight hours where it was really brisk and cold, I decided to go inside. And if I had to do elliptical, what I did was instead of doing 4 miles of elliptical, which I could do pretty fast, I always did 40 minutes because in 40 minutes, in my opinion, was what my slow times would be running 4 miles. So in theory, it was a 48-mile challenge. I probably did over 50-something miles because my elliptical miles were definitely much more. So that's kind of how I handled it. So the runs overall, when you first start out, you're excited, you're going through it, you kind of crank them out and time goes by. And it was just, I also used the energy gels because I didn't want to drink a lot of coffee. You got to worry about digestion, how your stomach handles stuff. I kept my foods very simple, a lot of fruits, pineapples, strawberries, all kinds of melons. Then vegetables, corn, carrots, all kinds of different things, protein drinks, light meals. Nothing really too heavy. I mixed in some brown rice, mixed in some pasta, but never a lot of big meals. It was kind of consistent meals all throughout. I used the energy gels to kind of give you the boost because you don't want to drink coffee because coffee dehydrates you. My biggest concern, like I said, because I sweat a ton when I work out, is to get myself dehydrated, cramp up, and then you can't function or you slow down completely, or mentally you start getting all screwy. So the first, I'd say 24 hours or so was pretty cool. Not cool. It was challenging, but I felt okay. During the day on Saturday, like I said, a friend of mine ran with me. That definitely helped me. But where I started to really feel fatigued and challenged was Saturday night into Sunday, where my body just started locking up. I ran two really, fairly fast runs in Saturday afternoon, like the 1 o'clock and the 5 o'clock, where I was just feeling good. I felt strong. I didn't feel like I was exerting myself too much. But lo and behold, when I got home at 9 o'clock, I started feeling it. I completed that session. 1 o'clock in the morning, I had like a 2-hour power nap. And the other problem with sleeping during this whole process is that the Friday night, I slept about 3 hours. The Saturday night, I slept about 3.5 hours. You don't get peaceful sleep because your biggest fear is that you're going to oversleep. So I'd set like 2 alarms, but if you get like a 1-hour power nap, you wake up in paranoia, like, did I miss it? Am I on track? Am I on schedule? So you worry about every little thing. So your sleep is not even peaceful sleep. It's just you're getting rest. Your body's almost demanding it. I didn't even watch TV for 2 days because you want silence. You just want peace of mind. So the Sunday morning at 1 o'clock, I was in pretty bad shape. I woke up around 12:30. My body was really, really tight. It felt bad. I felt awful getting off the bed. A little bit lightheaded. I wasn't sure if I was going to break or not. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to the gym. I'll see just how I feel. And actually, what was weird was, throughout this time, like you share all your process all throughout social media, just, because you want to just hold yourself accountable. Listen, I'm doing 4 miles every 48 hours. Here's my time. Here's my location. Here's the time on the clock. Full transparency. So fortunate enough for me, when I was doing this, I actually got a text from a friend that I don't even know that well, a guy that I know through different social media channels. Hey man, how you doing? Hang in there. Do you need anything? Just push through it. Try to find a way. And it was the right text at the right time because I was in a bad spot. I felt terrible. I wasn't sure if I can get through it. I wasn't even sure how I was gonna get on it. So, you have no energy. You just don't feel right. Your body feels like it's just shutting down. So I got on the elliptical and you're going slow. I'm sweating like crazy for no reason. So I'm like, all right, I'm obviously dehydrated, which was crazy based on I went through over a case of smart water. I was drinking all kinds of, Gatorade and eating all kinds of fruit. I'm like, all right, I'm clearly dehydrated. I'm drinking while I'm on it. And, my body just slowly, the first 6 minutes of the 40 minutes, it was miserable. You're sitting there and you're evaluating, why am I doing this? Am I insane? I've already accomplished this much. It should be okay. And then you're just like, fuck it. Let's just go. Let's just try to get through this and find a way to get through it. And if I can't leave the gym, if I can't walk out of here, I'll call somebody to come pick me up. And the weird thing was about 22 minutes into the elliptical session, my body started feeling better. I was like, wait a minute, I got a little burst of energy. I could probably get through this. And then you start like, you know what? I got this. You can do it. And It was so weird, that moment in time where it was just something that triggered, like you hit the ultimate wall. And you read about this in his book too, where your body's like, you know what, you're done, dude. And you're like, maybe I am. And then I was like, you know what, you've come this far. It's 1 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. You've been through all of Friday night, all of Saturday. You've run all kinds of stuff. You've followed every rule to the book. Like, you're here. You're not that far away from it. Why stop now? And I didn't. And you got out of there, you finished it. I came home and I got a 2-hour power nap, which is probably the best 2 hours I had in terms of sleep, which was crucial at that point because you're really starting to worry about, where's my body stand in terms of dehydration. The 5 o'clock in the morning one, I felt a little bit better, but I didn't push hard. I got through it, 40 minutes of elliptical, just to make sure my body was replenished. And then I was like, you know what? I have 2 runs left. And then my last 2 runs were on the boardwalk. And then you're just like, the 9 o'clock run, you're just like, all right, you got a pretty good pace. But again, like, you could feel your hamstrings getting tight. My calves were really like, you could feel things that, like, you know what? You don't want to pull a muscle. Obviously, you don't want to get hurt. But all you think, like, if you pull a muscle in the middle of the boardwalk, how are you getting back? Like, the time, you keep, like the time is always in your head. You're always like, you're consumed with it, So you get through that, I come back, and then you're down to the 1 run. You're allowed your 1 o'clock run on a Sunday, and you've done it, you've accomplished it. I had my energy gel, I had the fruit, and I felt great, because now you're here. And then you feel like you push it. And the really cool thing was, based on all the preparation, all the training, I actually ran my fastest 4 miles on the last run of the last day, which was completely cool. I had 2 good friends that actually showed up, and people that actually sponsored me, but they're really good friends. They say, we want to help you just reward yourself for getting through this. And that was really cool, and it was motivational. And I think the thing you learn is that the support you get, even from strangers, means so much in the encouragement, because it's not easy, and you can get in your own head, you can doubt yourself, you're not really sure what's going to happen, you worry about so many different things. Like with me, with the dehydration, that upsets your digestive system, which becomes a challenge. There's a lot of different challenges that go into it. So it's not, when people say it's a 4x4x48 challenge, there's so much more that goes into it. It is an enormous mental challenge. It challenges your preparational skills, your backup skills. Like I said, I thought I was going to be, not off work, working from home. I wasn't. A lot of different things I expected to happen didn't really happen. And you got to change your plan. You got to kind of adapt. So, and then you think that your body's going to feel good during certain things, and then it didn't. You thought that the Gatorade Zero was going to hurt. Like, so many things you try to assume were going to happen, didn't happen. You had to overcome it. So to me, it was a remarkable experience. It's all about preparation. It's about diligence. It's all about support. And the other thing that went into this also was the fundraising aspect of this, where it's like, you're worried about preparing and being the right body, physically ready, mentally ready. And what I did was I did a fundraiser to help raise money and awareness for mental health. So you had to coordinate, you want to keep promoting everything. Luckily I got 5 great sponsors. So we had shirts made. You want to make sure you can try to sell shirts. You want to promote the cause, and you want to raise money. So not only are you trying to keep yourself going with the challenge itself, you're all over social media, sharing everything, promoting, interacting with people, doing things, which that in itself can be very distracting, where you get back after a race and you kind of feel obligated to thank people or talk to them. But meanwhile, that time you're doing it is time that you're resting. So time management was really big, but overall it was an incredible experience. I mean, if you really want to challenge yourself physically and mentally, I highly recommend it. Don't take it lightly, prepare for it. This is something that I had in the back of my mind since probably January. I'm an enormous fan of David Goggins. I've always been, curious about this, but I was like, in order to do it, you got to get in good shape. I dropped weight, I changed my diet, and I started running. I started, upping my cardio a lot. And even the last couple of weeks, I would do, an 8.5 mile run, and then I would go do boxing rounds and keep you got to push yourself physically, because it's all going to pay off towards the end. I don't think at any point during this, my cardio was an issue in terms of, can I last the 4 miles? It was all the other factors of just the fatigue, the lack of sleep, and then the hydration issues, which is something that I learned from. So other than that, I guess the overall experience for me was incredible. And I am 1,000,000% thankful for everybody that followed my journey through this, supported me. I raised $4,125 for the National Alliance on Mental Illness, which is remarkable. You don't know how it's going to go when you do something like this. Or people are going to be like, this is just a gimmick, or just whatever. People were, just actively supporting. And, as you do 4 miles to 8 miles, 12 miles, the support, hey, this guy's pretty serious. He's really going for it. the support you get on social media was incredible. And I was so appreciative. It's humbling, it's overwhelming, and it was just so cool. So again, it's a pretty long video here, but I just want to share my experiences. If you have any questions, I'm by no means an expert. You know, like I did it, I completed it, I learned a lot from it. I'll probably do it again. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to add them. Other than that, I tried to do everything, tried to organize all this in my notes, but I get kind of sidetracked. Other than that, have a great day. Thank you to David Goggins for doing this. Thank you for everybody that supported me and helped me out through this, and have a great day.